Right, well, I realised that that was probably quite overwhelming, hearing so much music on the trot. For me, a real treat, because I actually realised that I hadn't even seen all those videos, because I've been listening to the music while putting it together, and then suddenly, oh, well, that's interesting. But also just it's very rare, except in a concert situation, of course, but otherwise, just to sit and listen to so much music. So I imagine it will take a while to process, and it's something we can come back to, refer to those pieces later on today. But if you've got any thoughts at this point, I'd love to hear them.
Oh, there's a lot to unpack. Look, there's a lot there, and different emotions and different periods. But just to go back a little bit, often when we're trying to teach younger people, kids, how to sing or how to read music in a choral tradition, it always strikes me if a child has a certain bass musicality and they're in pitch, I get quite jealous of the fact that there's no filter or no process between the heart and what comes out of the mouth. And that struck me a lot with the pieces by the Central Australian Aboriginal Women's Choir, and also the Mozambican choir after the devastation of their place of worship. The first choir, even though it seemed to be more elderly women, there was no concern really about, say, a style or a refinement, and I'm not saying that at all in a negative way. It's just the purity of expression, and I think that what are they, 18th, 19th century Lutheran or Anglican hymns in indigenous languages.
Taken over,
It's very rare to see that, and for someone of age to have preserved that in the way they express that, it's very rare. And also the second example as well from Mozambique, just the rawness of having to confront what's happened and to seek solace in song. It's very powerful, very overwhelming. Yeah.
I can speak to that a little bit. Just from the perspective of Indigenous culture, there's not really a sense of technique versus whatever technique isn't. Technique and then expression or something. So that distinction isn't there. And I think that the fixation on technique can actually be a block. For me, I've found that by kind of disregarding the concept of technique as I was sort of trained to think of it has been really liberating. And I now trust, it's not that I don't believe in the concept of it at all, but I trust that the technique or the body will follow when the gaze is fixed where it needs to be. So from that posture, that heart posture, I guess, the body sort of follows. Having said that, there's still obviously a lot to be gained from repetition and scales and all of that stuff. I can't say that I haven't got that under my belt, but certainly letting that go, letting go of that grip a bit and fixing my gaze on God as I sing. I find that often some of my best performances have been when I've done that. Sort of you get out of your head a bit, and that's
Well, I actually thought of you when we were listening to the Sister Marie Carew's.
Oh, that was so. That was beautiful.
And that was a Good Friday antiphon. I don't know what the words were. I don't know whether you looked it up, but clearly incredibly heartfelt.
And you even saw in the picture of her gaze. It's that gaze that really sets you up for nailing it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's funny you said nailing it, because it's Good Friday, the service done on Holy Thursday night, and within the middle of that long service where the 12 gospel accounts are given leading up to the crucifixion, the priest comes out with the crucifix. It's sombre, the lights are off, and everyone's gaze, if they can bear it, is fixed on the crucified Lord. The words are, "Today he who suspended the earth in the waters is suspended on a cross." And it's the interplay between the king. So the king of the angels wears a crown of thorns. He who wraps the sky in clouds is wrapped in a fake purple robe. He who freed Adam in the Jordan accepts to be slapped. And the bridegroom of the church is fixed with nails to the cross. The son of the virgin is pierced with a spear. We worship your passion, O Christ. Show us also your glorious resurrection. That's the context, and it is a high point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
There's certainly a theme I'm seeing here, which is that some of us who may be trained in a Western tradition are really responding well to music from various cultures that we're not so familiar with. And I can be a little bit hesitant myself to sort of assess the sort of musical qualities of that music when it's not my own tradition. I kind of feel like an onlooker seeing that kind of thing. But what I think we do detect in the great performances is the sincerity that comes through. And particularly sort of, even if we don't know exactly how they're doing it in their technical, and whether it's a correct sort of approach to what they're doing, the sincerity comes across. And I think we can really sense that. Often it can be a challenge when, and some of those performances are sort of in a concert setting, to still bring that sincerity across. And the ones who do manage to do that are always the more sort of successful ones, I think, from a listener's perspective.
Well, one of the things that it really kind of brought home to me today in a number of those concert performances was that it's still worship. I mean, it depends on the performance, obviously, but you could see it in the conductors and the faces and the singers. And I think it's a really good reminder that actually, our worship doesn't have to be during the liturgy. It can actually take place outside. And the other thing is coming back to, Andrew, what you were saying earlier about the fragility of the voice and those little micro changes, which we had a lot in different contexts. One of the things, I mean, Titus, like you, I'm very much a Western trained musician, written lots of music, and of course, we have the great gift of notation, which has allowed us to make all these harmonies and rhythms and so on. But it's also a restriction, because you can't really put in all those extra bits, all those bits of expression. It's very difficult to notate those. I mean, I know you've tried, and I've tried, and you get a certain way, but you can't sort of make that all up on paper. It actually has to come.
It has to be embodied in the individual, I think. Yeah.
I was reflecting, and I think I'm picking up the same theme inadvertently, perhaps, but as I was listening, I was struck by the settings from which the songs were sung. Everything from, I guess the black and white dressed choir at John Brown Uni, and that Alleluia, that had that real, I guess, that choral celebratory kind of, I haven't got the words, but the thing going on, for want of a better word, through to the Belarusian choir in the blue dress, the icon paintings behind them, setting a really priestly kind of tone, and really feeling ushered into, I guess, something very beautiful, through to the earthiness of the First Nations choir, and then that guttural lament cry of the Mozambique choir. And then I was going, what's the theme here? And whether it's by design or whether it's just something really beautiful, the theme of this playlist is listed as "Come into His presence" with singing. And there's something about being able to come to the Lord in the name of, in the case of the First Nations choir, with the taste of the red dust on your tongue, and coming to Him from there, coming to Him from the war-torn, I guess, impromptu structure, tabernacle, if you like, of the Mozambique choir, right? With the taste of, I guess, that awe, on your tongue, and yet coming to him with our singing from that place actually adds another, almost a musical quality that's maybe non-musical, yet actually adds to the authenticity of what's brought to the Lord. And I think the delight of this is that he receives it. So yeah, I think that was a real treat to be brought into worship from all those places.
Thank you. I mean, for me, listening to the Josquin des Prés, the 24-part piece, it was quite extraordinary, because I've not normally just sat down and listened right through.
Yeah, agree. Yeah.
But I was wondering through other
I
pieces.
was thinking, listening to that, we talk about the concept with modern pop and songs of the earworm, right? It seemed to me like an earworm, just held long enough that it seemed to be repetition of certain melodies, but it was held long enough that I had to keep listening and keep listening and keep listening as it built, and I was transfixed.
Yeah.
You couldn't let any part of you just let the attention go. It just kept going and going right until there was that release at with that final sort of chord at the end.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how it hooks you.
Well, I had a weird
hypnotic.
experience with that piece, because at first, you know, we all have our taste, I suppose, and at first it sort of felt like, oh, this is a bit harmonically resolved for my liking, you know, but I stuck with it. But what happened was, through that repetition, there's these really strange artifacts started to emerge, and particularly, did you notice the consonants? There were all these consonants happening that sounded like this undercurrent conversation, like these whispers, and that did something to me. It was quite affecting.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I had I changed my mind by the end of that piece, for sure.
Well, with that one for sure, and also like the Puritan, I think. I was reminded that it wasn't just sung through different places, but also through different times, and that part of the celebration is also in bringing music from a distant past that is nonetheless Christian to the modern day.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all very much. I think we'll be back after lunch with playlist number 3 here at the International Christian Choral Celebration at Excelsia University College.